Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and welcome back to Black American Lineage. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for all you do to support this channel. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a video for you today, and you just might be shocked. Some of us just have too much time on our hands and we don't know what to do with it. So listen to this.
Ever since I found out Harriet Tubman is not a real person, it fucked me up. Not gonna lie. Because her real name is Araminta Ross. And she was a spy for the United States government. Her real name, Araminta, is not connected to the Harriet Tubman. And Sojourner Truth's real name is Isabella Bumfrey. Same thing, was also a spy.
Now, y'all, this is what happens when ignorance runs amok. Now, she comes out here and posts something like this on social media, just like she knows this for a fact. She hasn't done any research. She hasn't cross-referenced it and told us where she got this information. She just says she found it out. Now, she found it out from who knows where, and now all of a sudden her word is supposed to be gospel. First of all, Harriet Tubman died in 1913. My grandfather was born in 1913. She was alive when he was born. Her life is well documented. There are books, there's documentaries, there's records, there's public records, all on Harriet Tubman. But she comes on social media to tell everybody that she found out that Harriet Tubman wasn't real. Also, she found out that Sojourner Truth wasn't real. She's trying to treat these people just like they're living in 2025 as opposed to people living during the slavery days. People like this woman will say that the government is trying to destroy our history when it's really people like her. She is discrediting a history that we're very proud of. And then she says, well, she changed her name. Yeah, it made sense for enslaved people to change their names when they ran away because, first of all, they were just names that had been given to them by a slave master in the first place. So the name wasn't sacred. But she did change her name, and that comes through when you read about her life. It's not a secret that her name was changed. Same thing with Sojourner Truth. Sojourner Truth changed her name because sojourn means to travel around, and she was speaking her truth. That's why she called herself Truth. She was speaking the truth about slavery and the devastating effect that slavery had on the black family. So she changed her name to Sojourner Truth. I go around telling the truth. And then this woman also brought up about the Underground Railroad. Black people really need to learn history. The Underground Railroad was not underground. It was not a train underground. It was a network of families who used their homes to house runaway slaves. They were called abolitionists. It was a network of people who used their homes to help the enslaved people run away. They would go and stay at this person's house, get something to eat and rest, and then get the directions to the next place. There were people, these were white people mostly, who had their houses outfitted to hide the enslaved people. They had their wagons outfitted. They had a floorboard under their wagons to hide the enslaved people as they took them from one destination to the next. But it was not underground. It was a secret organization. That's why they called it underground, because it was secret. And black people are, who won't learn anything when you're trying to teach them something in school, and then they get on these social media platforms trying to shock. They want to shock you with something that they heard as opposed to something that is documented and that is archived and that is factual. And so it is just really frustrating for people like this to come out running their mouth and talking about something that they don't know. Harriet Tubman was born in the state of Maryland. According to records from Maryland state government, she was legally born with the name Araminta Ross back in 1822. She worked as a muskrat trapper, weaver, and nurse in her early years. During the time of the Civil War, she served as a Union Army cook and nurse, and later an armed scout, where she used her contacts and knowledge of the landscape to provide insight. After marrying a free slave, John Tubman, she changed her name to Harriet Tubman in order to escape to freedom. Over time, she took multiple trips to slave lands to help free others in what is now known as the Underground Railroad. No, it wasn't an actual railroad. It was just a name given to her efforts to describe the covert and strategic routes she took. All we can do is push back when we see the ignorance coming from people like this. We have to recognize it and we have to call it out. And she was called out on social media. And I mean, to the point that she had to come back and apologize and acknowledge that she had not done the research, that she did not know what she was talking about, and that she had offended a lot of people. But the arrogance of a person like her coming out making a statement without double checking and without having anything to back it up other than that she found out. This is very destructive and is very dangerous to our history because we already know that America does not want to acknowledge what happened to us in America. And so we have to be diligent and we have to stay on the ball and we have to be willing to check each other. We have to not be afraid to tell people you are wrong and you don't know what you are talking about, and what you are doing is doing damage to our history and to our culture. We have to be willing to call people out. Sometimes we don't like to have these fights and have these disagreements with people, but it's necessary. It's necessary if we're going to protect the legacy of people like Harriet Tubman. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about the video. Thank you for listening and have a good evening.